Yo, what is good? It is your boy Danini back again with the
Banger video. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yo, what is up, everybody? We got Jeff in the house, aka Tubbs, and we got
Back at
Hunter,
it, back at it.
aka Wunter, because all he takes is W's. In
He
today's
does.
video, we are going to be discussing week 1 of the NFL regular season. As you saw in the previous video, Loki did a banger video, one of my most viewed videos ever. Me and Jeff discussed the Browns losing to the Kansas City Chiefs, and I am still like that, and it's okay. But
I I have a question, and this is something that we can discuss again while I put this in a group chat. If we get to that game again, I have a question for you too. If for everyone in the comments, comment down below what your guys' opinions are about Baker Mayfield and a certain stat that we found out about today.
do you want to start with your hot take, Hunter?
Uh, no, I'll probably save it for last because it has to do something with this Monday night football game that we just watched.
I think I know what it is.
If you can guess what it is, then I will tell you. if
That
you're
the
correct.
Raiders win the division and make the playoffs.
That is not my hot take.
Dang
This
it.
is okay. So,
That was
do you just want me to? Do you just want me to lead off with my hot take from this most recent game?
Wait, I lied. Yes, but I totally forgot they're the same division of the Chiefs, so give me a break.
that is a steamy hot take.
Imagine if that
Yeah.
happened.
So like you said, we're recording this video. It's about 12:35. The Monday Night Football game got done about a half hour ago. So my hot take is, I know you guys aren't going to agree with me, and to be honest with you, I don't even agree with myself. But I think it's a fun hot take to kind of look into.
Does it agree
And
with Darren Waller?
It is.
He's the
my
second
hot
best
take-
tight end in the league.
My hot take is Darren Waller, the best tight end in the NFL.
He's the second best. I was walking in my house and I was on the phone with my brother. I was like, you can make the argument that Darren Waller is better than Kittle. I don't disagree. Like, you can make the
No.
argument. I think Kelsey's the best, but you can. It's clear as day. You can make the argument that he's better than
Now-
Kittle.
Now the tight end conversation is a very fun one to have, and especially my roommate Noah, who you guys know, who's actually out in the living room right now. Me and him actually debate this all the time. I think Kelsey's the best tight end in the NFL. He thinks Kittle's the best tight end in the NFL. So we debate back and forth on it all day, every day. So this would be a fun topic for him. And I'm actually gonna, after this video is done, I'm gonna go mention it to him and see what he thinks. But when you look at Darren Waller, man, Darren Waller is an incredible talent. Just athletic freak. I mean, he's incredible. And John Gruden said even after tonight's Monday night game that Darren Waller is the best player he's ever coached. And that's high praise from a guy who's been in the NFL for a long time, and he's coached some magnificent players. And I was telling Jeff while you were
Derek
gone that
Brooks.
and
Well, yeah, I was gonna say let's not
Warren
forget
Sapp.
that I'm saying that this man is better than Darren Waller or anything, but he also did have Rich Gannon. He coached Rich Gannon, or no, he didn't. Never mind, it wasn't that year.
Didn't he
That was-
coach Mike Allstat?
Yes.
But I was telling Jeff right before you left for a minute, and before you came back, I told Jeff, I said, I wish I could find a girl that loves me as much as Derek Carr loves Darren Waller, because my God, in that first half,
I would
it just
too.
seemed-
Shit.
it just seemed like every pass was to Darren Waller. But this Monday night game was fun. Daniel, you can take your video back over going into this game.
19 targets in that game for Darren Waller.
My job was really, really slow, so I got paid to just sit there and watch this game, and I was not disappointed. Darren Waller, in my opinion, is the second best tight end. Okay. I love me some George Kittle, but Darren Waller is the fastest tight end in the league. He's arguably the most agile. You don't use that term to describe tight ends, but he's pretty agile.
In the NFL, you start to do that.
Dude, he broke a double team with the spin move and dove. I was like, I just stared at my phone. I'm like, no way. I mean, obviously Kittle's the best blocker out of all three, but I think Waller is I think he's the best all around.
Waller's the best athlete of the
Yeah, that's what I meant. He's the most
Yeah.
athletic by
I
a
think-
mile.
I
Runs a
think
4.3,
the
doesn't
best
he?
blocker and most physical is Kittle. The best pass catcher is definitely Kelsey. But I think when you look at most athletic, it's obviously Darren
Doesn't
Waller.
he run
I
like a
mean,
4.3?
he's very fast. He's incredible.
Like that
Uh,
one play, Derek Carr had him wide open down the seam, and Darren Waller's jumping up and down like, "Give me!" I'm like,
yeah. And Waller ended up with 10 catches for 105 yards and
19
a touchdown
targets
tonight. Yeah, 19 targets, and a couple of those targets were overthrows by
and
Derek Carr.
under.
And yeah, and so even 19 targets is incredible for a tight end, especially Darren Waller. But like we said, Derek Carr loves him. It's Derek Carr's favorite target. This Monday night game was so fun.
Yeah,
It obviously, I mean, the Thursday night game and the Monday night game, both games were incredible. And when you look at this game, the one thing that kind of stood out to me for both teams was kind of how sloppy they both played, and it was almost like, okay, the Raiders, get the ball on offense, and it's like Gruden. Okay, so here's the thing about the Raiders' offense that upsets me. It's because it's like John Gruden, one, and though he's going to his running back who has turf toe, and is kind of playing on one leg, and is giving him these opportunities in third and one, fourth and one, and even on there was one time on fourth and one in Ravens
did he
territory he
score?
gave it to Josh Jacobs. No, he gave it to Josh Jacobs. He got stopped. Josh Jacobs did have 2 touchdowns tonight though, including a very nice run.
Yeah, I don't know how,
Um,
that one that he broke free. I'm like, what?
that was really nice. But the one thing, my biggest pet peeve about the Raiders offense is you got to give Henry Ruggs the ball.
Oh
And
my
and
god,
here's
he's
the
too
thing about
fast
John
not
Gruden.
to.
He's arguably the fastest guy in the NFL, and he's running little 3 yard and dig and in routes in the slot. And especially there was one play in I forget, it was the third or the fourth quarter, but they were literally pressing him man to man in the slot with no safety over top, and he runs a little dig route, little 3 yard dig route, and I'm just saying to myself, Henry Ruggs, if you don't just show off your 4.26 speed and just dart to the end
Let's
zone.
go.
Yeah, and it's crazy to me because it's like when you have a guy that's that fast, you have to utilize him, and especially a guy that you spent the 11th overall pick in the last year's draft
First
on.
draft to receiver.
Yeah, and it's like it's you just there's packages you have to have for specifically Henry Ruggs, and there was one play tonight where he had a beautiful deep pass
And
from
then he fell.
Derek Carr. And he did fall, but I mean, if you get him the ball, good things happen, and we saw that last year in the Hail Mary against the Jets. When he put his speed out there, and I saw.
I'm still mad about that.
And yeah, and there was a tweet I saw on Twitter tonight that is 100% true. It might have been Bengal. I think you guys know who Bengal
Big
is.
game Bengal.
Bengal. I think
I hope if you see this, I don't like you.
you don't like Bengal.
No.
He's one of the only 2 MLB YouTubers I watch besides Let's Go Man. Muscles. Little man.
I love Bengal, and Bengal tweeted tonight, if Henry Ruggs was on the Kansas City Chiefs, he'd have 800 yards in his sleep in a season.
Here's can I say something real quick? And you just talked about how you said you use the speed, you utilize his speed. Going back to something in the Browns game, it's how they used Anthony Schwartz.
That's what I was gonna say.
Absolutely, and we'll probably get into that in a little bit, but I loved how the Browns used Anthony Schwartz on Sunday. It was beautiful.
Not to go back to the Browns game.
Yeah, we'll probably get into it later, but
I love Hollywood.
Yeah, man.
But
barely
I
did not
think
play at all.
I think by the end of the year, Schwartz takes his job.
I think he already has.
No, I think they did that because to beat Kansas City, you gotta beat them with their own. You gotta beat them with what they beat other teams with. But my opinion, like just bring it up like I did with Jeff yesterday. OBJ catches that ball that Schwartz drops. 100%. OBJ catches 100%. That ball.
Absolutely. Now, getting back to the Ravens game. Now we're going to jump to the Baltimore side of the ball on offense. And first we're going to look at Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson had a good night. He did. He looked
3 fumbles.
Good
night though.
We'll get into that. But Lamar Jackson looked good passing the ball tonight. Lamar Jackson, you could see notable improvements in his ball. That deep ball to Sammy Watkins was a dot. And don't even get me started about that rollout and where he bought himself some time and came back across and threw that dart to Hollywood Brown in the end zone. It's like that's what we've been
But
waiting
then
to
he
see
missed
out of Lamar Jackson.
the 8-yard one by a
Yeah,
mile.
and that's where Lamar Jackson is still frustrating, is because he makes all of these great throws that you're like, wow, maybe Lamar has taken that leap as a passer. Don't get me wrong, I still think he's a good passer, but you think, wow, maybe he's taken that leap, and then those little 8-yard throws that he misses, or those throws he needs to make, he misses, which kind of makes him, still inconsistent. And another part of Lamar Jackson tonight, like you said, Daniel, is the fumbles. Lamar Jackson for a quarterback,
I was so happy.
Lamar Jackson for a quarterback does not fumble the ball often.
3 of them.
He usually his ball security is unbelievable, and tonight just did not have it. And both fumbles were costly. The first one led to the score for the Raiders, and obviously we know the last one set up the game-winning field goal in their own territory. But one more thing that I had, my pet peeve, and not just because he's on my fantasy team in one of my leagues.
No, it's solely because of that.
Well, I don't understand why they went away from Tyson Williams. He had 9 carries for 65 yards, including a 35-yard touchdown. But I don't understand, when you have a guy like Tyson Williams who's averaging 7 yards to carry, how you can go away to that and just go. For
I don't know. Ask Kevin Stefanski why he went away from Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt when they averaged 5.5 yards a fucking carry. Also, one thing that we didn't bring up on the Raiders side, what's his name? Max Crosby or Crosby?
Max Crosby's a dog.
He's a dog.
Max Crosby is a dog.
Underrated. He's a dog.
Yeah.
He was He was destroying Villanueva all night.
Absolutely. Yeah, dude, Villanueva. I tell you what, that first sack that they got on Lamar, I mean, he made Villanueva look sick. And, that's the thing, the Ravens.
QB hits.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm, hoping that, for Lamar's health and his safety this year, is that the O-line did not look good at all.
They're not going to make the playoffs.
They got a ton of pressure on him tonight. I don't think they will either. And they got a ton of pressure on him tonight. And, and granted, he did make plays some of the times, but Lamar Jackson ran the ball 12 times tonight. And I think, that's fine for Baltimore, but in an ideal world, you want him to, you don't want him to be the leading rusher. I know circumstances with Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins and Justice Hill, I think his name is.
The one that tore his Achilles.
Yeah, and it put him into this situation. But at the same time, like I said, Tyson Williams had nine carries for 65 yards and a touchdown, averaging over 7 yards a carry. So why do you go away from him and go to Latavius Murray, who only had 10 carries for 28 yards? So that was one thing I didn't really understand. But the late game situations for Baltimore just really weren't ideal. They were getting pressure on Carr in overtime. Man, he made some great throws, and that one to Brian Edwards was incredible.
Wide open. Or the one in the last one was wide open.
Yeah, Zay Jones, that was wide open for the touchdown to win the game.
It was terrible.
But
like I said, it was great defense.
On the final play call of the game, I love that call. Obviously they're expecting the run there, trying to get some more yards to set up the field goal, and you're like, okay, well, you're not expecting a pass, so let's go for it. They're pressing. They're all, almost in like a goal line D form, up on, and they go up and just beautiful ball by Carr.
In the words of Pee Wee the Plug, John Gruden showed his ass. You don't know who that is, but.
And I'll tell you what, if you would have told me after the first week of the season that 2 AFC North teams lost, I wouldn't have guessed it would have been the Cleveland Browns and Baltimore Ravens. I'd have told you.
Jumping into the other game, jumping into the next game that we're going to talk about, Jamar Chase looked really well.
5 receptions, 101 yards, and a touchdown. And
also,
sure as hell learned how to.
Joe Burrow looked good on the field, but Joe Burrow also looked good up here.
I didn't know where you were going with that.
I'm talking about like up here. No. He looked good in his head. Because you know how they released that
Joe
article
Burrow.
of him saying that he might have not been mentally ready and he was scared. No, he said that was the LSU Joe Burrow.
Yeah, Joe Burrow looked very well for his first game back. And another very big part of the Cincinnati offense that is very big going forward and will make or break their offense is none other than Joe Mixon.
Yeah,
Joe
if he
Mixon,
if
29
he stays
carries.
healthy.
Joe,
Average
Mix, Joe
almost
Mixon
a
had
half yard.
29 carries.
Yeah, 29. He had 29 carries, 127
Imagine
yards, and
Nick
a
Chubb with
touchdown.
29 carries.
You and what that does too is it really helps open up things with that offense because you look at the weapons they have between Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and even Joe Mixon out of the backfield. And we all know Joe Burrow, like you said, that this was a huge game for him. Mentally, he's feeling okay. He knows that the knee, he's confident in the knee, and now he's going to go out there and play football. He's in his second year. He was able to get a. It took a full off season for him to recover, but he also has that full off season to learn more about the playbook and get more comfortable with his receivers. And then you bring in a guy in Jamar Chase who you already have that connection with.
And Thaddeus. Don't they have Thaddeus? Don't they have
Uh,
Thaddeus Moss?
Yeah, I think he's on the practice squad though.
so, one thing,
Jeff.
one thing I want to bring up, talking about the Bengals, is there was a report today coming out saying that Jesse Bates, their safety, reiterated that he wants to get a contract extension done, and that Sam Hubbard got extended, and he was hoping to be the next man up.
Yeah.
Jesse Bates is a free agent this coming up off season, and for us as AFC North fans, we understand that Jesse Bates is one of the best guys on that defense.
One of the best safeties in the league.
Yeah, one of the best safeties in the NFL, and that would be a huge loss for Cincinnati. Now, do we really look at them right now as winning the division threat? No, but we understand that they can be kind of a pest. I think that it's a team that
They're better than the record says. They're better than their record will say
on
they'll
paper,
be.
if they could go and play at their best, they're not gonna. They could go out maybe win, 7 games, maybe 7, 8.
I think the Bengals this year are going to be like the Washington football team last year.
Except not winning the division.
Yeah, well, that division is
they won.
division is trash.
Washington won the division at 7-9.
Yeah, that's great.
And
one more thing I wanted to touch on the Cincinnati side of the ball, going back to Joe Mixon, is like I said, like we discussed, Joe Mixon had 29 carries, and he led all players in total touches with 33 in Week 1. Just 3 of his 33 touches failed to gain yardage. He led all backs with 12 carries of 5+ yards, and he was tied for second in the league with 3 carries of 10+ yards. So when Joe Mixon's running the ball like that, it opens up so much more. And also another thing for the Bengals is look what this said about the offensive line that they've, been troubled with this offseason, the whole Sewell and Chase debates. And are they going to protect Joe Burrow coming off the ACL? Yeah, and are they going to protect Joe Burrow? What are they going to do? And yesterday, letting Joe Mixon carry the ball 29 times, actually ran the ball more than they threw. And, that's a big thing for the Cincinnati Bengals, that they have enough trust in their offensive line to say, hey, you guys can block for Joe Mixon. Let's see how you guys can block. And their pass protection was good. And look what happened. It led to a win. Burrow looked awesome. Mixon looked awesome. You know what? If they're going to continue to play like that on offense, like their offensive line, Bengals could be a sleeper team, man. You never know. They got some young talent over there, and they have some potential.
Yeah.
Well, one thing, too, is one of the big keys is the fact that their 2019 first-round pick, Jonah Williams, is finally healthy.
Yeah,
and that's one thing that's huge because he was an 11th overall pick. He was supposed to be a technician coming out of Alabama, and now you finally get that. And they tried to rebuild that offensive line. They tried to give Joe Burrow some protection. It was like I said, you talked about the debate between Jamar Chase and Penei Sewell.
I wanted Jamar.
I personally was, and Hunter knows this especially. I was very high on wanting the Cincinnati Bengals to draft Penei Sewell. I felt like you need to protect Joe Burrow at all costs, and if that means spending the 5th overall pick protecting your quarterback, you do that because you do not want Jamar Chase to become Andrew Luck 2.0.
You mean Joe Burrow, but I know what you mean.
Always injured, and the offensive line is not that good. You do not want that, and it's not a sexy pick. Everyone loved Jamar Chase because it's a sexy pick. He can make the highlights, and we saw that what he can do. and it goes back to what you guys did in the 2020 draft when you guys drafted Jedrick Wills. Is it's not a sexy pick, but it's a very necessary pick.
Imagine if we got drafted Tristan Wirfs instead.
He was my as Connor. I
Yeah,
was
there's some
super high on Tristan Wirfs.
Jumping into another game, you want to know who looked really good? The guy who captured my heart for Oklahoma, Jalen Hurts.
He did look good.
27
Yeah.
out of 35, 264 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, I understand it's the Falcons, but like,
Well, here's the
He
thing,
looked
and
good.
here's the big thing that I noticed yesterday when kind of looking into the Eagles Falcons game last year. Jalen Hurts led the NFL in yards per attempt, throwing the ball down the field, and obviously we know he wasn't great last year when it came to that. But it seemed like yesterday had one of the lowest yards per attempts per pass, and he was very succccessful.
Seven
He
and a
was
half.
completing, yeah, and he was completing almost. I believe he was like 18,
27 and
24.
35.
it's
so-
81%,
Yeah,
I think.
way off.
81?
77.
That's close.
Right, and it seemed like Nick Sirianni, the new head coach of the Eagles, was putting him in a position to succeed, and he did. I mean, he looked awesome. Jalen Hurts looked awesome yesterday. Obviously, throwing the
Smith
first
looked a little
touchdown.
receiver.
Yeah, and throwing it to one of
Devontae.
his old college running
Yeah.
mates, Devontae Smith. And that's the biggest thing I think, and Sirianni did a great job of doing that yesterday. Was putting Hurts in the best situations that he needed to succeed, and Hurts delivered, man.
And Miles Sanders averaging 5 yards a carry too. 15 carries, 74 yards. You like to see that.
Right, keeping him healthy is going to be the biggest thing for Philly this year. And with that run game, we know how good of a runner Miles Sanders is when he's healthy. But that's half of the fight for him is that he needs to stay healthy. I mean, Philly's got the weapons, man. They got Devontae Smith, they got Dallas Goddard, they got Zach Ertz. Yeah, Jalen Rieger had a touchdown
J.J.
yesterday.
Arcega-Whiteside. So you're
You know,
just
so
not going to
neither of
laugh?
us are laughing. No, no. But and one thing, going to the Falcon side of the ball, the one thing that bothered me was, I'm not going to lie to you, the first drive of the game for the Falcons, it looked like Calvin Ridley was going to break the record for most catches and most yards in a game because he was getting targeted like crazy. And then the rest of the game, he only had 2 more catches the rest of the game. Kyle Pitts only had 4 catches. And especially, with Mike Davis as your runner. So I'm sorry, I love Mike Davis and what he did to fill in for Christian McCaffrey last year. I just don't think he's a running back RB1.
Yeah, no.
And
Will Patterson was their leading rusher yesterday.
yeah, and that says a lot.
54 yards. And yeah, Mike Davis only averaged 3.3 yards per carry, 15 carries, 49 yards. He was a guy that some people were looking into this for fantasy as well, and fantasy wise, Mike Davis did not get. If he was one of your running backs starting, he did not get it done for you. Yeah, Calvin Ridley only 5 receptions for 51 yards on 8 targets. You would have expected a little bit more, especially from Matt Ryan, and an offense that there's not many quarterbacks that throw the football more than Matt Ryan, where he went 21 to 35 for 164 yards, and he only averaged 4.7 yards per attempt. So and he got sacked 3 times, and he had a rating of 71.6 and a QBR of 17. Atlanta is definitely not off to a hot start.
No, should have drafted Justin.
I don't think.
And they go up against Tampa Bay next week. Oh boy.
Oh dear God. Oh dear.
And
Tampa Bay is a 13-point favorite at home against Atlanta.
Going to the next game, Chandler Jones, have yourself a bow. And like I said, I might have been wrong about Arizona. It's one game. Who knows? I still might be right. I was completely right about the Titans. They will not be good. They'll be good, but getting Julio improves nothing.
Yeah, well, I didn't feel like getting Julio Jones was going to make them this absolute dynamic offense because
Derrick Henry was so bad.
Because of the fact that last year Ryan Tannehill was, I believe, 18th in pass attempts in an
You
offense
run the
that's very,
ball like
yeah, where Derrick Henry, 17 carries for 58 yards, 3.4 yards per carry is not
Derrick
Derrick Henry.
Henry.
No.
And that
And
brings
I think
real quick, and this
uh,
brings the question of is the wear and tear of Derrick Henry. And this is going to be something I think NFL fans and especially Titans fans will need to look into more throughout the season is the wear and tear of the last two seasons where you were grounding and pounding all your is
like
that
Todd
going to
Gurley.
slowly start is that slowly going to start to catch up with a guy who is massive
Is it
for a
like
running back? Oh,
another Todd Gurley situation? All Sean McVay did was run with Todd Gurley, then got arthritis in his knee, and he's probably never gonna play again.
yeah, I think, and here's the thing when you look at the Tennessee game yesterday, and I'm not going to try and overreact to the Titans because it's only been week one, but the defense was abysmal and it was not good at all. And Kyler Murray was just doing, and hats off to Kyler Murray because Kyler Murray yesterday showed what we've been looking out of a number one overall pick. Kyler Murray was electric. He was making all the right throws, and that one scramble he had where he got through the ball and got the first down was absolutely ridiculous. And going to the offensive side of things for Tennessee now, you're right. 3.4 yards per carry for Derrick Henry is not good at all. But I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I didn't think the play calling on the Tennessee side was very good either. They
True.
didn't really give opportunities to AJ Brown or Julio Jones, and AJ Brown did have a nice touchdown catch yesterday. Julio Jones didn't play well. He had a stupid personal foul penalty. He had a couple of drops, but I think the biggest part of that Tennessee offense is Derrick Henry in that run game. And when the run game is not working, it's hard to open up the passing lanes, no matter if you have Julio Jones and AJ Brown.
True.
I do think the week one, the offensive only 13 points for Tennessee was a fluke. Really do. Because the pass protection for Tennessee was awful as well. And you saw
Taylor
that with
Lewan, you
Chandler
saw his
Jones.
tweet.
Yeah, I mean Chandler Jones was getting whatever he wanted. And
Whatever he wanted.
right now he's the favorite for defensive player of the year.
Chandler?
yeah, there's nobody that comes close.
He's on pace to beat the sack record by
I was told there
60.
would be no math.
He's on pace to beat the sack record by
Well,
70,
honestly,
72.
well, if he gets 72 sacks at this point, you might as well just put his bust in the Hall of Fame now. But obviously,
Well, he's on pace to have 95 sacks. 17 games times 5 is 95.
85.
85. Okay,
I was like,
he's projected to beat it by 60. Then.
Again, I was told there would be no math.
Anyways, getting into the other games, Russell Wilson. I didn't watch much of this game. Russell Wilson, man, MVP favorite.
Oh boy.
yeah, only Daniel would call someone an MVP favorite at the halftime of week one, and then get ratioed by me on Facebook about it. So
18 and 23,
with
4
that,
touchdowns though.
yeah. With that being said, Russell Wilson was incredible yesterday. He was on full display, and I think like there's like untucked jersey Kyrie, hoodie Mello, things like that. I think early season. I think early season Russell Wilson is one of those players because Russell Wilson always starts off on fire, and he was incredible yesterday against a Colts defense that is arguably one of the better defenses in the league. And Russell Wilson just tore them apart. And I want to give a lot of credit too as well to me one of the more underrated wide receivers
Tyler
in the league,
Lockett.
and Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett was incredible yesterday. Had a beautiful touchdown catch in the end zone. DK Metcalf had a touchdown, and everything was just working for that Seattle offense yesterday. Even Chris Carson on the ground played a pretty solid game. So yeah, Seattle looked awesome yesterday, and then on the other side of the ball, you
Carson
look
Wentz
at
looked
the
pretty good.
Indianapolis Colts, and that was one of the games I was really intrigued with because you look at Carson Wentz with his first game in a Colts uniform, and Carson Wentz played well. He completed 25 of his 38 passes for 251 yards and 2 touchdowns, and
65%.
he looked awesome. He had a QB rating of 102. Just the big thing there was that the run game had a hard time getting going. Jonathan Taylor only averaged 3.3 yards per carry.
One
But
thing
other than
I'm a
that,
little interesting or a little interested at is the fact that Michael Pittman only got 4 targets.
You love Michael Pittman.
Yes,
yeah, another
but
thing
still,
too, Jeff. Another thing that stands out to me as well, looking at the receiving, is that their top two receivers were their running backs. It
yeah,
was
we're
Jonathan
Raheem
Taylor and
Hines and
Naheem
Jonathan
Hines.
Taylor,
Yeah,
which obviously T.Y. Hilton not being not playing,
Healthy.
which T.Y. Hilton is not the same guy that he was back in 2014, 2015.
I mean, that's what happens when you go from Andrew Luck to Jacoby Brissett to Philip Rivers. You're going from best of the best to
washed.
backup to 10 years
Washed.
ago, you'd be excited.
Well, yeah, that was something that was a little interesting as well. And also the fact that, so you were able to get 3 sacks. So you were able to get a tiny bit of pressure on him, but overall, you were able to get 7 QB hits. But I, I just feel like, on the offensive side, and like Daniel said, I think it might be biased just because I love Michael Pittman so much. I think you need to try to get him more involved because I think right now I would probably say for me he would be wide receiver 1 as of right now for that team.
yeah, I agree.
And then, I have a question.
I have an answer.
Is Christian McCaffrey the best player in the NFL that's not a quarterback?
No.
Ah.
I would say
Did
no.
we forget about
but
Aaron
I would.
No, dude.
I would say. I would say no. I would say no, but I think Christian McCaffrey is the most valuable player that's not a quarterback in the NFL.
He had 90 rushing yards and 89 receiving yards. He's gonna do 1,000 and 1,000 again.
Which is ridiculous.
He's gonna
Yeah,
he's gonna go down as one of the best ever.
yeah, and it's like it doesn't matter who you put at quarterback, he's gonna get his.
And he's 25.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I mean, that's a huge boost for Sam Darnold. I'm guessing
Sam
we're
Darnold
jumping-
revenge game?
Yeah, so I'm guessing we're jumping into that game next.
Yeah, Sam Darnold
Yeah.
revenge game? Showing
Sam
why
Darnold.
Adam Gase should never coach in the NFL again?
Yes, Sam Darnold was incredible. He played a very good game, and it's not surprising. I mean, I always like Sam Darnold with the Jets. You get him away from Adam Gase, and look what he did yesterday. He was making good throws.
Look what Tannehill did when he left Adam Gase.
Yeah, I mean he was making good throws. I mean you're right. It was a revenge game. Even I bet your ass that touchdown, that long touchdown he threw to another ex-Jet and Robbie Anderson was
Felt great.
I love Robbie Anderson. He's gonna be hot take. He will be wide receiver 1 over DJ Moore by the end of the season.
I don't think that's a
I
hot
agree.
take.
I agree.
I agree with that. But
And
other
Yeah,
than
I
that,
agree
Zach Wilson looked mediocre. I mean,
flipping to the Jets, they were only able to get 45 total yards or 45 rushing yards as a team, averaging 2.6 yards per carry.
well, the Panthers do have a good rush defense.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's definitely not going to get it done.
Yeah,
between
no.
Kevin Coleman, Michael Carter, who's a guy that I thought is going to be a guy later on in the season. He's going to be a guy that will be good for them. And then Ty Johnson, 4 carries for 15 yards. He was their leader in average yards per carry at 3.8. Just not going to get it done.
Random stat.
Corey Davis did good.
Up until Monday night's overtime loss to the Raiders, the Ravens had won 98 straight games dating back to 2004 when they held a 14-point lead. Wow.
That's crazy to think about.
Then there wasn't really, I mean, the Chargers and the Washington football team wasn't really much there besides Fitzpatrick going down and gonna miss half the season.
Which sucks.
Actually, there is one player I would like to highlight in that game, and I know Jeff's gonna appreciate this a lot.
Keenan, Terry
Can we
McLaurin.
please just talk about? Can we please just talk about Rashawn Slater in that Washington Chargers game?
Did he
'Cause
lock down
Rashawn
Chase?
Slater against a dominant Washington football team? 0 pressures, held his own, and he looked incredible.
I think
I
that
mean-
might be the steal of the draft. He shouldn't have fell that far.
Yeah, he looked awesome, and that's exactly what Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert looked good, and that's gonna be the hardest thing for the Washington football team is figuring out that quarterback situation because I
I think
like
it should
once
be
they figure out-
Heineke.
I do too. I think once they figure out that quarterback situation, they could be a very good team. They have, Antonio Gibson at running back. They got McLaurin, Lance Thomas at tight end, and then that
Here's the
defense is just.
Do you
here's
sign?
the
Do you call Cam? Do you
I
call
think it's
Cam?
possible with him and
You know what's
Robert
crazy
Ron
is what you
Rivera.
say about that is Noah. Noah told me this about an hour ago. He looks at me, he goes, yeah. He goes, now that Fitzpatrick's out, he said, do you think they look at Cam? And I
It's
said
not like
no.
him and Ron don't have a connection.
I did say no, but it's got me thinking, man.
And you look at it this way, you have Curtis Samuel there too.
You
Right.
got Cam. You got the guy that led him and Cam, the 1-2 punch, Ron Rivera, Riverboat Ron and Cam.
Well, going back to something.
You're gonna give Cam Newton an elite defense besides Luke Kuechly?
Like going back to something that Hunter said about obviously me being very high on Rashawn Slater, who
I thought he was better than
talking
Penei
about
Sewell.
during the NFL draft when I was scouting is pretty much he was the Chase Young eraser.
Yeah,
Yeah.
In 37 starts in 2019, he did not allow a sack, and obviously he did opt out in 2020. He's a he's going to be a good one.
and then, like I said, Trevor Lawrence did not look good at all.
Yeah, and 3 interceptions in his first start, also threw 3 touchdowns. So it's kind of mixed results for Trevor Lawrence. It's how much
Tyrod Taylor looked beautiful.
Tyrod Taylor looked awesome.
QB1.
And,
He's about to get blown out next week, but it's okay.
oh yeah, he's gonna get killed. But yeah, I mean the Texans looked awesome. Now, granted, I think it's more of a testament that how bad the Jags are than how good Houston is.
Well, they also came out and said that Urban Meyer's Well, they said Urban Meyer's thinking about resigning because he said his heart's not in it.
Which absolutely means he's gonna go become the head coach of the USC Trojans.
So here's something that I said on an episode of Dogs Unleashed, which shameless plug, you could catch every Saturday at 9 p.m. on Revolution Radio's Facebook page. And I was on record saying that Urban Meyer, but I said by the end of next year he will find his
I said
way.
by the end of this year. I said he's not going to finish the year.
And we don't want to overreact to one game, but when you're going up against a Houston Texans team that is supposed to be one of the worst, if not maybe the worst team in football, and it's a double-digit loss or double-digit win or for Houston, oh boy.
Yeah.
Going into the next game, that's a W.
So
We gonna eat one. We gonna eat one.
That game is, and obviously I would assume you guys have heard it, but for the people that did not know, obviously this was supposed to be a home game in New Orleans, but with Hurricane Ida, that wasn't able to happen. And so with New Orleans had the choice of different places to go. The reason why they chose Jacksonville was because it was going to be the hardest ticket to go, or the hardest ticket to get, and the most expensive for the fans. And he does not play well in that stadium. Aaron Rodgers did, and clearly that showed again. Aaron Rodgers did not look like the reigning MVP.
No.
Yeah, and that leads me to
But the
my
defense
question.
was also very bad for the Packers.
Yeah, and this is the question that leads me. Well, actually, that's what leads me to my question for both of you guys. And I think I know your guys' answers, but I'm going to ask anyways. Are you guys more impressed with how Jameis Winston played, or are you more
Not
depressed by how
satisfied
Aaron
with the
Charles
way-
Rod,
with how Aaron
100%,
Rodgers
100% impressed by Jabu.
played? You're more impressed with Winston
I
than
love
you are
Jameis.
with
I love
Pittsburgh and
Jameis.
stuff.
I love Jameis.
I do too. I think Jameis Winston's hilarious. I think he's a character. I think Jameis played awesome yesterday. But I know my answer is I'm more upset with the way Aaron Rodgers played because I think
love
in
Jameis.
his 17-year career that might have been the worst game he's
Oh,
ever
I mean,
played.
I'm heartbroken because everybody knows I love Aaron. Like I love Aaron almost as much as Baker. Like
which
it's
for me personally is, and this will obviously me bringing this into the Steelers situation as well as we play Green Bay in 3 weeks. So I'm
Yeah.
praying to God that he continues this bad path. Do I think it's gonna happen?
No.
Most likely not.
Well, like speaking of Rogers, did you see did they release that whole interview with Aaron or no?
I would assume if you looked it up, you could
No,
find
I can't find it. I saw a snippet where he came out and said, "Well, they don't want to agree to me after 2021, so you drafted my replacement, so you might as well let him play." I'm like, he said that. He goes, "Well, they
Wow.
drafted my replacement, so they might as well let him play." I'm like, damn.
it. Yeah, it's
Say this keeps up for the Green Bay Packers, and say Aaron Rodgers kind of shits the bed again next week too, and the Packers lose.
against Detroit at home.
No,
on
he's
Monday
gonna
Night
drop
Football.
like 9 touchdowns.
Oh yeah, he will. But say he struggles the next couple weeks, and say he struggles up to the trade deadline. Do you think about trading Aaron Rodgers?
You
at the
trade him and
deadline?
start Kurt Bankert, the best backup quarterback in the NFL.
Okay, as
Bam.
much as I love Kurt Bankert's TikToks and all of his content, do you almost think about trying to trade Rodgers at the deadline, and
Well,
then maybe
in that-
starting Jordan Love the rest of the year?
No, you gotta start Kurt. But
You get-
in
You're awful.
in the interview, Rogers came out and said he thought he was going to get traded to Denver. Well, they were like, "Ooh, Denver, San Fran. Did you think that was reality?" He was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was." He goes, "I thought I was gone."
Imagine that offense with Aaron Rodgers, and then you get Jerry Judy, Cortland.
Prayers up.
Oh boy, yeah. Prayers up to Jerry Judy, but
Yeah.
You want to know who proved a lot to me Sunday? Marshawn Lattimore.
hey, who just got paid?
He
Someone said, were they negotiating that during the game?
well, because they signed. Didn't he leave the game early? I saw him walking. Doesn't he wear 23, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he walked off the side. He walked away from the game early, and then right after the game ended, breaking news. I'm like, huh? What do you do?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That's kind of badass if you leave a blowout win early to go negotiate a contract extension. That's pretty sweet.
I mean, he
if
did
that is
lock
true.
down Devontae, but he also. You want to know who he always locks down whenever they play?
Mike Evans.
He's the Mike Evans stopper. He's non-existent. And then going into, you want to know who proved a lot to me? Another person. I mean, I love Stafford, but he proved a lot, not to me, like the NFL.
Oh my goodness!
Like he
Matthew
proved that
Stafford was
it wasn't him.
incredible.
It was Detroit.
Yeah, and now that he's got a great defense around him, he's got Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods.
Jalen Ramsey. That man
dude,
is small.
Matt
Jalen
Stafford,
Ramsey's small, but he's not scared.
Matt Stafford was incredible. I mean, just simply incredible.
He rolled out of the pocket. He didn't do that in Detroit. He rolled left and threw it on the run. I was like, "Where's that going?" Wide open. I'm like, "Whoa!" Like,
Yeah, 20 to 26 for 321 and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Only got once he had I believe close to a perfect rating of 156.1 and had a QBR of 89.9. Oof.
and then Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, that's the end of that game. It was literally just a Stafford show. Or Justin Fields should start week 2.
Wait, did you say Teddy Bridgewater?
I was going to the Broncos game.
Oh. I thought you were trying to
No.
I thought you were trying to say Andy Dalton for a second.
No, Andy Dalton's buns. Teddy Bridgewater looked pretty good in that game against the Giants. Also, Daniel Jones is still the worst quarterback out of all 32. Huh?
Saquon. 10 carries, 26 yards.
Yeah, definitely not the return that Saquon Barkley wanted in his
Obviously,
return. But I think this was also, more of just getting him back in.
The last full game
He only had what, 9
played
yards?
before that was against my Pittsburgh.
He has to get his Steelers involved somehow. He has to get his Steelers involved.
We didn't even talk about how great Dak looked.
Yeah, Dak looked great.
Yeah, if we're gonna go to that Thursday night game, I mean, Dak Prescott looked awesome, and just
Zeke's
the
still
trust
the
in
most
Mike McCarthy.
overrated running back in the league.
I don't understand. Like, why do you only run the ball with him? Now I don't. It wasn't getting you
Pol-
much
was
anywhere,
wasn't it Pollard ran more?
dude. Tony Pollard's nice, dude. I'm
Tony
telling
Pollard
you.
only had 3 carries.
Really? He was on the field more. He was on the field more
Carries
than
for
Zeke.
14 yards.
He was on the field more
Yeah.
than Zeke.
Yeah, for most times he was, because Tony Pollard's more of a fast back, better receiving back than Ezekiel Elliott. Now, don't get me wrong, Ezekiel Elliott might be the best pass protecting running back in the league, but
But
it's very weird to me. You pay Elliott all that money,
and
and
then
you throw the ball 60 times and you run the ball 11 times.
you paid him what, 18 million a year, 590, right?
Yeah,
He
yeah, and I think a
he
mix
was
of it is you're giving yourself, um what Tampa Bay was giving you in the defense. So they were throwing the ball, and when you have the weapons like C.D. Lamb, Michael Gallup, who left with an injury, and
underrated.
obviously a hell of a game Amari Cooper had. You take what you can get, especially with how good Dak Prescott played. Dak Prescott looked amazing in his return from injury.
Arguably the
But
best
at the
game
same
of his
time,
career.
yeah, but it was very risky of Mike McCarthy to drop him back 60 times like that in his first game since that ankle injury, and it turned out to be smart. And I'll tell you what, if Greg the Leg makes just one more of those kicks, hey, you know,
Yeah. Other things, Raheem Mostert, we didn't really talk about the Lions in the 49ers game.
Prayers up to Jeffrey Okuda, former Buckeye.
yeah, former Buckeye man.
That's like the Lions almost came back. Jason Verrett tore his ACL. I mean,
Yeah,
so they don't have any corner. They don't have Sherman. Sherman didn't even sign anywhere, did he? No.
Yeah, because he was dealing with the legal stuff.
Oh yeah, true. They lost Sherman and Verrett. Who's the number one corner? I don't know.
sure.
They lost Sherman because he left as a free agent, and then Verrett
Well,
tore his
they
ACL.
They had just signed Josh Norman.
Okay, but who's the number one corner?
And San Fran just traded off one of their other corners to us. It was something I can't pronounce his first name, but Witherspoon.
Yeah. Which is great.
So we only got a couple games left, and obviously, me and Daniel touched on one, but we could touch on it a little bit some more.
Well, we have one more that we didn't talk
Yeah.
about. What are you more impressed with, Tua or Mac?
I think I'm gonna go with
I'm gonna
I'm
go.
gonna go with Mac Jones.
Mac Jones as well because of the fact that I feel like Tua there was some pressure on him to really say, okay,
He won the game though. He looked good.
But Mac Jones, 29 of 39, 281 and a touchdown.
That was a big win for Miami.
Yeah. And especially right now in the fact that Buffalo just lost.
You're number one in the division.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big win.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing. Going back to the the AFC East showdown, like you said, going into Foxborough is no joke, no matter Tom Brady or not. With
And
that
those
the
fans.
Patriots team, so being able, and shout out to Miami's defense, who played very well too. But Tua did play well. I was impressed with Mac Jones, and like you said, getting the next game with Pittsburgh and Buffalo. The one takeaway I had from that game is that Pittsburgh sucks, and it just makes I'm just kidding, but
Najee
my main
Harris was not
takeaway-
good at all.
No, and I kind of give that to the offensive line. Kind of mixed both. That offensive line, you're still gonna have to get better. But I mean, you can't say enough about that Pittsburgh defense. Just incredible. That amazing strip sack TJ Watt had, and like Jeff said, they did not blitz at all. They barely blitzed, and they still had
3.7%
amazing
of
pressure.
the defensive snaps.
Yeah, and they still had amazing pressure on Josh Allen, and as you guys saw, it changed the whole tone of the game. They
Josh
only
Allen
had
looked
13
terrible.
Well,
points.
here's a stat for you. The top five pass rushers with the most pressures.
Wasn't it Cam Hayward?
Three of them
one?
were Steelers. Cameron Hayward with 12, TJ Watt with 8, Melvin Ingram with 8.
I forgot he's a Steeler. And then was it Mile?
I'm not going to get too much into this because we're going to get in depth with this on Thursday. Renegade Roundtable, 6 p.m. Also, 9 subscribers away from hitting 100. So
I'm 27 away from 100. Hit that sub button. I'll blow you a kiss like this.
well, there's that. But
You're such an incredible man.
yeah, we're gonna get 3.7 of, or yeah, the Steelers only blitzed on 2 of Josh Allen's 54 dropbacks, which resulted in 3 sacks and 8 QB hits. That is ridiculous. But like I said, I don't want to get. I'll let you guys mostly get into that because I'll save that for what I gotta say.
I just think what it was, it was kind of like last year's game between the Steelers and the Bills, but the roles were reversed because in the first half, Pittsburgh was beating the Bills last year, and then the Bills turned it on and just locked them down. This year, the Bills were beating Steelers, and then Pittsburgh just turned it on and made Josh Allen look terrible.
Yeah, and that's the thing is about Josh Allen that we've kind of been waiting to see is him under pressure. And don't get me wrong, I mean last year against the Steelers he looked very good, but this year obviously it's a different story, and that pressure affected him. Stephon Diggs was almost non-existent against Pittsburgh,
Nine
and the
receptions
one
for
thing
only 69 yards.
yeah, and
That was similar to how Juju's role was last year. He had a lot of catches, but the yards weren't there. He only averaged 7.7 yards per catch, which is very not Stephon Diggs like.
yeah, and also, I texted Jeff about this the other day, and I said to him, I said, man, you know what? I said, I am not impressed at all with Buffalo's offense outside of Stephon Diggs. And, most of the time, Josh Allen, they have no run game. And I think in the long run, that's going to, and now obviously Josh Allen can make things work with his legs, but I think in the long run, it's going to hurt them. And like, let's not forget, I saw a lot of people predicting, Buffalo to go to the Super Bowl this year. I saw
No,
a
they're
ton
not.
of people. I'm sure
I
you
saw
guys
a
saw
lot
the
of
thing.
people. Yeah, but I don't agree with that.
I don't either, because here's the thing: when it mattered most last year against Kansas City
Josh
Chiefs in the
Allen
AFC title game,
choked.
they put up 6 points against the Kansas City defense that's decent at best.
Josh Allen choked. And he put up what, 27 against the Bills? Or not the Bills, he plays for the Bills. He put up 27 against the Colts? One of the best defenses in the league.
For me, well, one thing too is in that fourth quarter, Devin Singletary was starting to find his groove, and because he started slicing and dicing us, he ended with 11 carries, 72 yards, and averaged 6.5 yards per carry. Josh Allen, I think after the first couple runs, Pittsburgh's defense did a nice job of trying
Well,
to contain
here's
him.
this, right? About Josh Allen. Someone tweeted after the Browns and Chiefs game, Aaron Goldhammer said, hard truth, $40 million quarterbacks throw the touchdown, not the interception on that drive. Right now, it's the difference between Baker and the elite. And Hayden Grove quoted it and said, Josh Allen just lost to Pittsburgh today with a 79.7 rating. And he's a $40 million quarterback.
So
Baker played fantastic besides one play. Jamie Gillen, I'm sorry. I'm not going to get into it, but he could have punted that ball.
So let me ask you two a question. And obviously, for everyone who watches this, if you've made it this far, first off, thank you for that.
Appreciate you,
that.
love you.
But comment down below what your thoughts are. So there was a stat from NFL on CBS's Twitter account saying there is no QB that's thrown more fourth quarter interceptions than Baker Mayfield since 2018 when he was drafted with 16. Let me ask this for everyone. Is that concerning?
Yes and no, because I don't count Freddie Kitchens' year against Baker. Because I don't count that. That year does not exist in my book. I never went to a Browns game that year in my eyes. Never was there. I didn't waste $50 on parking for the home opener just to watch Derrick Henry shit on the... No. It's a little concerning, but that was mostly his second year. It was mostly his second year. He had 6 picks last year.
Well, the reason why I say that here's my reason,
Or was it
and I'm
8?
really not biased
Was
on
it
why
6 picks or 8
Um,
picks?
Can I offer my opinion real quick?
No.
You're like you were recording a YouTube video because I almost just flipped you off. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Actually, if it is a YouTube video, this isn't kid friendly, so there you go. Anyways, um, I kind of agree with Daniel on this. It's kind of alarming, but it's kind of not because when you look at that stat, you're right. You want a quarterback in those situations that's gonna deliver. And when it comes down to it, yes, I know he was trying to throw the ball away. Yes, I know he was getting hit from behind.
Bro, if he
So,
doesn't get
no.
hit, that's a first down.
Can you let me finish?
Yeah, go ahead.
God, you never like my.
You
never
cut
mind.
out.
Uh,
I thought you were done. I'm sorry. You cut out.
No, you're good. You're good. Sit there and be quiet. So, so yes, I do know that Baker got hit. He was going to throw the ball out of bounds. He got hit, and it got picked off. It's not his fault, no. But at the same time, there's that narrative. And since he did throw that game-ending interception, that narrative is going to live on until he proves us something different. Because I'll tell you what, if Baker Mayfield would have finished off that drive yesterday and we would have won that game, do you know how much praise Baker Mayfield would be getting right now?
I would have been in Berea waiting for him.
We bet you would be.
I think he heard you say that, so I think that's why he threw that pick. So he knew you wouldn't be waiting for him in Berea.
You know what? We didn't talk about this today. Me and Jeff talked about it a little bit. Do you think that Kansas City Chiefs coach should get suspended?
No, they said that.
No, they already said he's not going to.
That's not what I asked.
Well, no,
that's not what I asked. Do you think he should have?
Oh, should he? Yeah, he should have.
First, you said.
I said, do you think he should have?
Yes, he absolutely should have.
J.C. Tretter, the NFL president of the Players Association, the Browns center, is calling for it.
Which obviously, and not only just for him doing his job as an NFLPA president, but just also sticking up for your team.
I don't understand why he wasn't ejected. He started it.
But real quick, I want to go back into this Baker Mayfield interception conversation that I said, and here's the reason why I would say it's concerning, and I say this because there are question marks. Browns fans in itself in Cleveland are very high on Baker Mayfield. They believe that he is the franchise quarterback. You pay him, you give him a blank check, this, that, and the third.
I don't know about a blank check, but...
Well, that's just a saying because I heard that a lot with TJ Watt's contract, which I didn't agree with that either. But that's here nor there. But the reason why is there are question marks with Baker. He's had 1.5 good seasons to 1 bad season. If you're going to pay your guy, and yes, say what you want to say about 2019, and you say that it doesn't live in your head, but it has to live in your head.
Okay, it obviously lives in my head, Jeff. But
the thing is,
we had head coach, bro.
Okay, well, first off, 98% of the people aren't going to understand that reference.
Okay,
well,
I don't care.
I can reference that.
We had Coach Coop as head coach.
Well, don't disrespect Coach Coop. But again, you have to take that into consideration, and that is one of the question marks we're talking about. Is yes, you had the game-winning drive. You had the beautiful game against Cincinnati last year. It's against Cincinnati.
I don't care if Big Ben. If Big Ben would have done that, you would have creamed your damn jeans over the TV.
I've seen Big Ben do this time and time again.
Yeah, and go blacklight your wall. Go blacklight your wall. Go blacklight it. Go blacklight your wall. Guarantee you, there's Big Ben cream.
Honestly, the fact that the fact that we lost that game last year, I don't even have to get into that.
What, to the Browns?
I was talking about Cincinnati's game, but that Monday night game,
This
that
one?
was a business itself.
What about this game?
But that's what I'm saying about Baker Mayfield. When you're talking about paying a guy $40+ million a year, possibly, you want to be able to have a guy that can drive you down the field.
He can, though. That's my thing.
Okay,
He can.
but
Look what he did against Baltimore. Arguably the best defense in the NFL last year. We were there in person. They couldn't stop Baker.
But I'm saying these are still going to be. If you're Andrew Barry,
It's
if
not
you're
all
Paul
on him
Podesta,
though. Jamie Gillen
okay,
drops a
but
punt.
he's
Nick
also.
Chubb
But you have to
fumbles.
take it into consideration. He's the quarterback. He's going
Well,
to take that.
obviously you have to take it into consideration, and no one's denying that. But don't sit there and say the whole loss was on him. Yeah, he threw a pick. I get.
Yesterday, I'm not saying that. I'm putting barely any blame on Baker. Baker Mayfield Sunday at 4:25 in Arrowhead looked great. This one of the best games that Baker Mayfield. Although he did not throw a touchdown pass, it was one of the best games that Baker Mayfield had. I will say that one of the most efficient games. I'll say that.
And also, I love John Johnson, but him just deciding to watch Tyreek Hill and not, bro. If you watch Tyreek Hill, you go down in history as the first person to pick off Patrick Mahomes in September. He's never been picked off in September. Never.
My issue again with this is obviously yes, not 100%, and that play in particular, yes, he was trying, probably most likely trying to throw it out of bounds, and it was just one of those situations. It happens, but again, it goes back to the narrative of you're going up against a Kansas City team,
The
where
best of
if
the
you
best,
build-
and we
if you
lost
build-
by 4.
I'm not saying, and this is what I told you last night. I said y'all lost, but it shows that you guys are able to. You guys can compete with the best of the best in the NFL. Where I made the comparison that yes, Pittsburgh beat Buffalo, but that could turn into a fluke. We could see this maybe 6-7 weeks from now. We could say, yeah, that game was a fluke.
No offense, I'm not trying to talk shit. So like last year, kinda.
You,
I'm really not trying to talk crap. Like that's an honest question.
If you want, that's fine. You could say that because you look at that for an example that the week 6 game for Cleveland, they played a phenomenal.
No, I'm talking about the 11-0 start.
Well, I'm just saying in general, the perfect example for the fluke is you see what happened week 6 in Pittsburgh. They look phenomenal. They blow out Cleveland. But then what happens in the playoffs? You get the picture. You get the plaque. See, I just set it up for you. I just ooped another one for you. The second video in a row for that. But
About to get this tattooed on me.
we're not surprised.
About to put that right here. And I'll move my camera like that one day.
I'm surprised you don't have it right next to your Nick Chubb picture either.
I'm going to do that tomorrow when I get off work.
Well, there you go. There's that. So I guess this video is turned into a house decorating video, but that's also here and over there. Home and Garden channel. If you want to sponsor us, hit us up or hit Daniel in his DMs. But
Danini the Panini 6 at Gmail.
there you go. There's that. We went from talking about Baker Mayfield to the Home and Garden channel.
I think like I understand like yeah it's concerning. I get it is, but like Baker's proven that he can lead you down and win the game. He's proven it. I don't understand. He went to a franchise that was 1-31. He broke the rookie passing touchdown record in 13 games, mind you. He had one bad year, but no one talks about. Yeah, I get Lamar Jackson won an MVP. Get it. No one. Everybody wants to go on Baker. No one talks about how Lamar Jackson. I mean, they do, but not nearly as much as Baker. Lamar Jackson has one playoff win in 3 trips, and he had a first-round bye in one of them.
Oh, that's one of the biggest narratives that's going against.
It's not bigger than Baker. And I would die on that hill.
That's why is because you're so focused in on you're not looking at the big picture about this.
I am looking at the big picture
because you're a Browns fan.
No,
you're going to look. I'm telling you, you won't notice it. You won't admit it, but it's going.
What do you mean? I won't admit it. It's not Lamar Jackson's narrative of not winning the playoffs is not bigger than Baker Mayfield's narrative of not being that guy, which is a cap argument. And Hunter will probably agree.
He can go out this season, and there's a very good chance he could do that.
Who, Lamar?
No, Baker.
He proved that he can win the game already.
The thing is I think if you're Andrew Barry, to him, to the front office, they want to see more. They want that sample size.
3 touchdowns in Pittsburgh?
I could go into a whole different argument.
48
about
to 30. You want to? I got the plaque.
We could do that
He had,
in another
he had
video.
3 touchdowns.
It's
He's got
also not hard
he's
to get
got more
spotted.
he's got
Defensive
more
front four.
career passing touchdowns than Josh Allen and Lamar. Passing, he has more than Josh Allen.
Okay. Again, well, Josh Allen got
No
paid.
one says
yes.
no one says nothing about Josh
got
Allen.
paid. A lot of the reason why Josh Allen got paid was because of the fact that he was actually a legit MVP candidate last year, and that helped him out.
But no one says anything about Josh Allen being butthole in the playoffs. He was terrible.
The reason why you would bring that up is over with now because he got paid.
No, you should still bring that up.
The reason why you bring this stuff up in the scenario that those 3 quarterbacks are in is to make the argument.
Josh Allen wouldn't even have had a play. If the Colts would have had any other quarterback, Josh Allen wouldn't even made it out of the first round last year.
Okay, but you could say that yes, and that would have definitely got brought up in discussions in the contract and the narrative of Josh Allen.
Well, the reason Baker Mayfield hasn't been paid because we have to pay everybody else. Who does Buffalo have to pay besides Josh Allen? Let me know. Besides Josh Allen or Stephon Diggs, let me know. The Browns have to pay Baker,
They already
Wyatt.
have a lot of veterans on that team that was paid already to begin with. They're gonna have to worry about Tremaine Edmonds here pretty soon.
Besides those two, Browns have to pay Baker, Wyatt, Chubb. They paid. They gotta extend Njoku. I'm sorry, you have to extend Njoku. He's the best tight end on that roster, and I will die on that hill.
I think the way that you sign Njoku is whether you
trade
either
Hooper. I'm sorry, trade him.
Trade Hooper, or if you can't, you get Njoku on one of those cheap deals.
I love Hooper.
If you tell Njoku and his agent, listen, let's get you a 1-year deal here. You continue to do that. Hooper's off, or because did he sign a 3 or 4-year deal?
4.
Okay. Well, then I think that would make Hooper a little bit easier to trade because you only have him on the books for less time.
I just don't think Njoku's the best blocking tight end we have. He's also the most athletic tight end we have.
The reason why I think a lot of people are so high on Njoku is because, and we discussed this last night, and Hunter, I don't know if you got that far into the video we did last night, but I'll reiterate for those that didn't watch that video, which you should, is David Njoku is what, 25, 24 right now?
24.
Yeah. He came into the NFL age 20.
He's got all the abilities and the assets to be another Darren Waller.
He has the abilities, yes. But I think one thing that is with him is the fact that he was playing a position so young. Where you look at the guy now, Travis Kelce, he's doing all
31.
This. He's 31. He started doing
George Kittle.
George Kittle. I would have to go back and see like when he really started to come on to see
4th year out of Iowa.
But well, tight end that Iowa's tight end but that's a different story for a different day.
And then Darren Waller, he had that whole stint with the Ravens, got suspended from the NFL for a year.
Yeah, and David Njoku, this is going to be the year. I think we saw this yesterday, or we saw this, I guess, technically on Sunday.
In the last 2 games of Njoku's career, both against the Chiefs, he's been the best tight end the Browns have had. Also, I admitted this last night, and I don't know if you got this far, Hunter. I love Mac. Start JOK. Start him. You got to.
Yeah.
I love Mac. Love him. Love him. Love him. But Tack McKinley and Mac got their ankles taken by a quarterback who loves ketchup.
I like ketchup.
Not as much as Patrick. The dude's got a ketchup sponsor.
I mean, congratulations to him and all his success.
But it's just like, stop being scared. Like, hit him. Do what you did last year. The game against the Chiefs last year in the playoffs was arguably the best game of Mac's career.
Which Chiefs fans go at. Chiefs fans.
Which I don't think. It doesn't make any sense to me because, like, the Chiefs got away with a hold on the last play, but that's not called. but I don't know. Week 2 is going to be interesting. I just can't wait to title the YouTube video Baker Mayfield rips open tie rods.
I definitely don't think you should make that your title.
I'm
But
not obviously going to do that,
I
bozo.
don't.
Ratio, bozo. NBA Youngboy's better.
and we're live.
I said that earlier at work anyways. But anyways, I think it's gonna be the end of this NFL recap. Always make sure to hit that like button, make sure to hit that sub button. We are currently 27 subscribers away from 100. I'm trying to hit 100 by mid-season. I think we can get there. Why did it sound like I was starting crying? I wasn't crying, I was starting choking on air. But I think we can get there. I'm going to put some links down below. Make sure to hit that like, follow, and subscribe button on those links. I'm going to put their Twitter links down below. Make sure to go hit that follow button for some great content. All
By
right.
the way, go and watch the fan reaction video that we did. It's currently at 95 views, so go and get that to 100.
It's hitting 100, baby. But all right. Love you. The Paninis. I'll see you soon.